Hey guys, it's Biggs. It's absolutely crazy hot up here, man. Like, you guys have no idea how insanely hot it is here. Yesterday was, I don't know, it was like 96 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. It's insane. And we don't have air conditioning. And it's kind of hard to imagine, but my fish room in the basement is actually one of the coolest places in the house. So spend a bit of time down here. Now today, I got another package in the mail. So another cool package came in the mail from a dear friend. So I get to say it's fan mail number 2. Let's open it up and see what it is. Now, I travel, you guys know I travel all the time when, prior to what's going on right now. And I'm always on the road for my job and also for YouTube and doing some fun things and stuff like that. And speaking engagement and stuff gets me out there to see you guys and have a lot of fun. And I got to spend an entire week with this wonderful, wonderful woman. She's a dear, dear friend. And we toured all over the state of Florida. And I'm very, very fortunate to have her as a friend. Now, the person in question is the one and only, the Miss Sandy Moore, the president of Segrist Farms. You guys, I have so much video content of Segrist Farms. I've probably got at least 4 or 5 videos to put together. Now the challenge is, and I do this to myself every single time, is I go to these places like that and I shoot 150, 200 little snippets of video. And I don't put a lot of audio to it because I'll just add the audio and the narration afterwards and stuff like that. But sometimes it gets real challenging to edit it. You guys saw the one I did of Cichlids of the Americas with Dan Sharifi. That was almost 13 hours of editing. And with us not being able to travel right now, that means I'm not allowed to go on the road too much. It means I don't get to spend a lot of time in hotels. So that makes it even more challenging because that's where all the magic happens for editing for me. It's when there's absolutely no distractions whatsoever. There's not all the kids running around. There's air conditioning. So it'll happen. It's all going to happen. I've got some amazing stuff coming from them. But if you guys saw a live feed just a few weeks back, we had the amazing Sandy Moore. And we had Denise Petty, the veterinarian, fish vet. And we also had Shelby, their brand ambassador from Segrist. And that was an absolutely wonderful live feed. It's probably one of the best ones we ever had. Biggs just has to figure out how to work with the time zone changes because in Saskatchewan, Canada, the one province over to the west of here, they don't have a time zone. In Manitoba, I'm Central, and you guys know Biggs always goes live on Central at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern. Well, they don't have a time zone. Half the year, they're the same as us. The other half of the year, they're the same as like Alberta, which is one more province over. So I guess I got to consider them standard mountain time, maybe. I don't know. But hopefully next time I'm in a hotel and we do a live feed on the Wednesday, Biggs will have it figured out. Now get back to the box of treasure. I don't know what it is. But Sandy, a couple weeks ago, asked me for my address. And I'm thinking, I don't know what she's going to be sending. It could be super funny. We never really know. But for weeks prior to that, when I was down there, actually, I'm going to digress. When I was actually down there, she asked me if I wanted to do a talk. So I did a talk for all her management staff, all her sales staff, everything, not just only in Florida, but they also Skyped it in or somehow with all the other branches and stuff. And there was a ton of people at this talk, some there, and then the rest were all virtual and stuff. And it was really cool. And I asked her, I says, would you like me to introduce them to some different stuff? Now, you're talking Segrist Farms. This is like one of the biggest in the world for what they do. If they don't know about it, it probably doesn't exist. But I thought maybe something a little bit different. I'm trying to push my side of it on it. And I decided to introduce them to the world of isopods. Now, you guys know how many isopods we got. You've seen a bunch of the videos. Me and Paisley are always playing with the isopods every Saturday morning so Mom can have a cup of coffee and relax a little bit. But what the offset of that is now Sandy has now bought 6 containers and set them all up, and she's slowly starting to get her isopods going. So I guess Biggs has been a bad influence again. This is a win. This is a big win. Because I think, honestly, if we can get somebody like Segrist Farms or something like that that's producing these things that could in turn get them to Segrist Farms, these things could get out into the mainstream pet trade, and I think we could get them, make them a lot more popular than they are. So I do actually have a real angle to it as to why I'm trying to do it. Make these things a little bit more available to people. Up in Canada, the Cubaris species, everyone's familiar with the rubber duckies, but there's so many different Cubaris species, and all those different ones out of Asia and stuff like that, most of them are not available in Canada. And so what's happened is the dollar value, the supply and demand of those is still extremely high. Rubber duckies in the States are trading now, and you can get them down to about $200 for 10 to a dozen, versus in Canada they're still at $300 for a dozen. And then you got all these cool new ones that have been out for a while in the US. Most of those are not available in Canada at all. There's a few odds and ends breeders that are starting to work with them, but again, it's a slow trickle effect. It takes time for them to build up their stock, like a lemon blue and ambers. Now we have Pak Chong and red tigers and white tigers, and there's just so many cool species coming out of Asia that just never really made it into Canada in big numbers, and they're starting to. So if we can get something like Segrest Farms behind us doing this stuff on a bigger scale, it can make it huge for everybody in North America. That's my thoughts. So, Sandy Moore, thank you very much, not only for the absolutely amazing time when I was down there. This woman took time out of her schedule. This is probably one of the busiest fish people in the world, and she took an entire week off to hang out with the bigs. And we did all sorts of fun stuff. We went out and saw Dr. Walczyk, Tom Walczyk. We did a bunch of touring around with him. We did so many amazing things. We had an absolute blast. I'm absolutely honored to have her as a dear friend. And I'll be back, Sandy, don't you worry. But what I was getting to is, for weeks leading up to this, is she'd be going out on her walks. Ever since she's been in lockdown, she would go for a walk or a jog every single morning, and she would send me random pictures of things she'd find on the ground, like seed pods and weird leaves and things like that. Botanicals, right? A lot of the botanicals that cost a lot of big money. And there's those ones that you guys have seen. Here, let me show you some of them. So she'd send me these random pictures, and I would think, things like these are banana stems. Well, there's banana trees that grow in Florida. Here's something I don't even know what these are. And then the gum things, I saw these all over the ground in North Carolina. These, I don't know what they are, but these are leaves from a magnolia tree. These I collected at Rusty Wessel's house, literally just sitting on the ground underneath his tree in Louisville, Kentucky. They're big, they're heavy, they got that nice tropical look. Oh, that's gonna look amazing in my fish tanks. Taking your leaves, Rusty. Nothing you can do about it. Biggs is going on a mission. They're all fuzzy. Biggs wants to touch it. Why are you touching it, Biggs? Because Biggs isn't smart. Biggs has to touch everything. Biggs has to look at stuff, touch stuff. Biggs is weird. They're wonderful because they're nice and thick. They hold up well. You guys have seen these in some of my isopod containers. They haven't changed since the day they were put in. When I was down in Florida on one of the trips, I also came back with a bunch of these, and these are called sea grape leaves. They're pretty good. They're just as good, almost as good as the magnolia. They hold up really well. And then the piece de resistance, definitely for me, was finding these ones here. And the name's escaping me right now, but I do have it written down. I'll put the name up. And this is a giant seed pod that looks like a bean, and it grows on the tree, and it hangs down from the tree, and then they drop on the ground. Well, when I was down there, it was a little bit early, so they were all over the ground, but they still had the beans in them. So I had to split them apart with a screwdriver and take the seeds out of them, the beans out of them, and then I can bring them back, because this is honestly, it's just a husk now, and there's no problem in bringing that across the border. So when Sandy asked me for my address, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is she's been going around collecting all these twigs and leaves and seed pods and stuff, and she's asking for my address, and I'm literally just going to get this giant box of botanicals arrive of a bunch of random stuff from Florida. And I'm thinking, I don't think this will even have a chance of getting across the border, but whatever. So she sent it to me. Here's the box. I have no idea what it is. It could very well be botanicals. It's got different types of things. It says urgent, must deliver today, but there's no air holes anywhere on the box, so I wasn't too concerned because it's been sitting upstairs on my desk for 2 days, and I didn't want to open it unless I opened it with you guys, because that makes it more fun. So if something comes out and bites me right away because it's angry, well, that's good content for you guys. So we're going to open this up. We're going to see what it is. Pretty. Ooh, what is this? Oh, super cool. Oh, we have kicked it up a notch now, Sandy. Holy smoke. How many of these did you get? So when Sandy was setting up her isopod containers, I mentioned to her one of the things that I really want to do, but I have not really had good access to in Canada, is to put proper vents in to make the containers look a little bit cleaner and neater. That's all it is, honestly. Me going and cutting out the big rectangle and hot gluing in the window screen in behind has worked well. It's just the containers they don't look really, really good. And behind you guys right now where those 275s are, eventually I want to replace that and build a nice 8 or 10 foot stand there with some shelving underneath it that'll all be nice and neat and built to contain all the isopod containers. So it gives you another facet within the aquatic lounge that is a facet that contains the isopods within the room instead of on that stainless steel rack in the laundry room. But every time I've tried ordering from these different places like Round Vent Company, and I can't remember the names of them, I would never hear back, ever. I'd email them, never hear back. I'd phone, I've left messages, never hear back. So I just kind of like, I guess they're not really interested. So thank you I don't even know how many there are, Sandy. But I'm looking at, I'm going to probably put almost one full package per container. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 packages of them. Thank you so much, Sandy. Now we have to up the isopod game. So now my containers are going to be just as sexy as Sandy's containers. And now I think down the road we're going to have to do a live feed with Sandy for her to showcase her isopods. What do you guys think? I think that's a good idea. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Sandy. Thank you very, very much. Very, very cool. So each one of the vents, it's a 2-inch vent. They've got little things that when you push in, they hold against the plastic. I don't know if that's going to show up at all, but there's the front. And then they push in. Now I'm maybe a little bit concerned, but if I am, I can easily cut out a little hole of a window screen, and I can just put a few dabs and put it right in there from behind and then push them into the plastic. But I think it's going to look absolutely slick once these are mounted right on the front. On the sides, I think they're going to look super, super cool. So I'm really stoked about these. Big's got fan mail twice now. You guys are crazy. I don't want anything from you guys, but I'm absolutely honored that my friends think of me when we talk about something like that, and they go out of their way to get it for me. I'm very, very honored. So thank you very much, Sandy. Let's see what we can do with them. Take care.